Hi, I'm Matthew Marinus. I'm here to just share a few philosophies that I have on songwriting. Now, the music industry in the last 60 years might feel that it has become about how many number one singles you can achieve, how many followers you can gain, how many radio stations will play my song, and how famous an artist can become. And it's easy to believe that this is what making music and songwriting is all about. These aspects certainly are important when you are considering making music into a business, but I'm here to give you a slightly different perspective, a slightly different lens in which to view making music and your songwriting. Now, why is songwriting as a form of creativity so important to me? Well, I believe that there is value in every chord you play, every melody you create, and every lyric you pen. There is value for you as an individual, as a human being. Now, why do I say they have value? Because the process of songwriting is taking a feeling, an event, an emotion, a viewpoint that is inside of you and places it outside of you in an organized way. Why is that important? Well, you see, the mind is the only organ in the body that can't self-regulate. Every other organ in your body can self-regulate and restore itself on its own, but the mind, it can't. The mind needs another mind to regulate itself. That's why it is so healing to be able to talk about your problems and situations to people that listen and to feel like you are being heard. To be heard is one of life's greatest needs. Once it's out there, you feel lighter. Once it's out, you understand yourself better. And once it's out, you're able to be objective about the situation and about your feelings. It's healing and it's progress. And that is valuable to anyone's life. Now, when writing a song, you are engaging in a very similar process. It's just that you're not engaging with another person or another mind. You're engaging with yourself in a very unique way. You're engaging with your own creativity. You're engaging with a part of yourself that is able to tell you the truth. You're asking questions of yourself. How do I feel about this? You're going in, leaving no stone unturned within yourself. And this is one of the most therapeutic activities you can engage in. You are taking what's inside and disorganized and putting it outside in an organized way. You're focusing on yourself. And what you're saying is that you're worth discovering. You are placing value on yourself, your feelings and your experiences. Songwriting is a deep connection with yourself that is something worth pursuing. That's why I say there's value in every chord you play, every melody you create, and every lyric you pen. That's why I believe that writing songs shouldn't only be for professional musicians or people wanting to be professional musicians. Anyone that feels drawn to it is able to experience the healing power of 3 chords and their truth. Now, music hasn't always been about popularity. Let's take a step back in time, back to where songwriting originated from. Because it's natural to think that we have progressed past our history and that we have moved on from why people wrote songs and music back in the day. But there is something worth revisiting there. A good place to start is slavery. Slaves had the hardest time imaginable, but they started creating what they called slave songs. And they used to sing these tunes while working. And why was this so powerful for them? They found a simple a cappella melody and a lyric about their struggle, and when they sang it, it made them feel better and brought about some sense of healing. That one person's creation became something that everyone in their same situation could relate to, and when they sang it together, it made them feel less alone in their struggle. It united them, it was healing, and it was a coping tool for them. It wasn't about having everyone in the world love their song that they created. That song was for them and their community of people experiencing the same things as them. This developed through the years, and songwriting became more colorful with the invention of different instruments. They had more tools in which to express themselves with, but it still remained that the songs they were singing were about creating community and also about feeling less alone in their human experiences. It was not about how much money they could make from singing or playing their music. That only came much later. It was about community. People used to work 6 days a week in the mines just so that they could go play jazz on the weekends. It was an expression. It was more about bringing people together than it was about advancing their status. It was about exploring themselves and exploring the depths of the human spirit through this magical relationship with instruments, melodies, and lyrics. Now, it's easy to believe that that time on earth is separate from where we are now, but we would be losing out on one of life's greatest gifts if we do. There is no need to downplay the positive influence of writing songs and creating music in your life. And it's easy to get caught in the trap of thinking that if your songs aren't accepted widely in the public or by certain radio stations or not celebrated by certain groups of influencers, friends or family, that your songwriting efforts have no worth. Don't get caught up in that. It's not true. Even if no one else gets to hear it, your creations have value. And some things are just for ourselves. You must understand that writing music and releasing music are two very different things. It takes an immense amount of bravery to release music, to put yourself out there in search of other people who share a similar viewpoint or taste, knowing full well that your creations will land in front of people that don't resonate with what you're creating. You have to be brave, and you have to be prepared for these type of statistics. 80% of people are going to be neutral and completely unaffected about what you create. 10% of people are going to hate it, and 10% are going to love it. You've got to know this going into it so that you can manage your expectations and emotions during this period, as you are putting yourself in a position where you can receive a lot of rejection. But if you can manage your expectations up front, you can better weather the storm. But there are positives that you have. There's a potential to create a community with those 10% of people that do resonate with what you do. There are platforms out there today such as Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube that makes it easier than ever to find your 10%. If it's important to you to share your music, my advice is to look after that 10%. Make your communication with that 10% about real connection. It's important to place value on your creations in the right places. When you have written and recorded your track, make sure you like it. Make sure it represents you. Take your time with this and truly ask yourself, am I happy with this? Is this a representation of what is inside me? If it is, and you're holding that recording in your hand, that is the moment of celebration. That is the occasion to be celebrated. A tricky place to find yourself in is when you are unsure about your feelings towards your own songs and creations, and you are awaiting external validation first before you're able to validate it yourself. That is going to be a very tricky time to navigate, as you are basing your worth and creativity on other people's feedback and not your own. And then you can go down the path of basing your future works on other people's expectations of you. This is an easy trap to fall into, one in which you can certainly lose touch with yourself. And then you start approaching your work differently. Then you have a set of rules within which you need to create, as you start to believe that other people expect a certain thing from you. That is an expectation you set on yourself, and you can believe that other people have set it on you. If you are aware and conscious about creating a brand and have decided that this brand you have created you want to play within certain types of rules in which you have created, that's business. If you're going into a writing session knowing you want to create a work that is for a specific radio station, a specific target audience, a specific demographic, that's business. Business has value and business gains material success. And that is a good goal to have if that turns you on as a person and if that is your goal with your music. But it is important to understand that there is a difference between songwriting as a way of expressing yourself and songwriting for the purpose of making it a business. Being in a position of not needing to make music your business is a very special place to create from. Why? Because you are free. You are free to create anything you want. Free to explore yourself without anybody's expectations hanging over you. You have nothing to lose. You are able to fully explore your truths, your wants, and your instincts. Once you understand that making music from your truth and making music for the music industry as a business are two separate things, you are then able to navigate a balance between the two. To be able to write something important that represents you and then being able to blend your song with sounds and ideas that are on trend, that's a winning combination. A combination that will leave you connected to your music. And if you are connected to your music, you are connected to the audience that likes your music, and a genuine sense of community is built through your releases. That's a good thing to aim for. Don't let commercial success of your art be the only measuring stick you use to determine whether your creative process has value. Your value needs to be determined from within. And if by the process of creating, you find yourself more examined, more organized, more inspired, and more at peace, let these aspects be your measuring stick on how much value you place on making your music.